depression headed for our area. Meteorologist John Davitt joins us with the very latest forecast. So, John, what does all this mean for us?
Well, not too much. Just means a change in name, really, for Floyd. I mean, for us, the effects aren't going to change just because the name has changed. The storm still plenty powerful, and it has caused some trouble in the city today, and still a little bit of trouble yet to come. However, it should mostly be over by 10 o'clock, and definitely all over by about midnight or so, just a few showers around and some winds. But until then, it is going to remain quite stormy. Let's quickly go to the Doppler radar here. This is overlaid with our satellite, and we can see the progress that Floyd has made today. A very, very fast-moving storm that is accelerated to moving at more than 30 miles per hour off to the northeast. And that's why things have been sped up a little bit. You can see some clearing behind the storm already. Washington, D.C. in the clear and all that heading our way. Now, checking out the wind gusts, we promised you some strong winds after 4 o'clock, and it's after 4, and here you go. 33 miles per hour in Manhattan, 31 in Staten Island, Queens at 46, and Brooklyn at 45. Now, even though we are in the tropical storm warning, actually, since Floyd has been downgraded to a tropical storm, we are still in a tropical storm warning. That has not changed. Also, the flood warning has been extended. It was supposed to expire at 5 o'clock. They've extended until about 10:30 tonight, as we are expecting a band of heavy rain to move through the city, most likely between, we'll say, 5:30 and about 8:30 or so. We'll keep an eye on that. So, Floyd, a little bit weaker, has a different name now, but the game is the same. We're looking at rain and wind for the next several hours with improvement by 10 and definite improvement by midnight, Roma.
John, you were...
Now, I think you make this situation whole by virtue of communicating clearly and unequivocally to the parents that, in fact, this is going to be remedied by their children going forward, that they have the option, if they desire, to hold their child back because of the fact that they may, as a parent, see the benefit of actually having another year in that exact same grade. But I think in the final analysis, you restore confidence by simply getting it right, and that's really what we have to do. This is not something that we can simply just sit and point fingers about and have an argument about who did what.
And downgraded now to a tropical storm from the hurricane earlier on. It's just a forecast. Let's go back to our weather center where John Davitt is standing by. John.
Well, we're talking about school bright and early tomorrow. It will be bright, sunshine expected, but you still have to get through some rain and wind. Very windy around the city, and heavy rains are on the way to the city. We'll be encroaching on most of the city by 5:30 and definitely overspreading the city by 6 o'clock. So we're looking at another period of very heavy rain between now and 8 o'clock. The showers tapering off later. We've tracked this storm together all day, and I think you guys can figure out by now exactly what's going on as we look at this satellite radar composite in motion. That's right. Floyd is moving. It's moving quick, and it's starting to move away to the northeast, but still some heavy rain. This is a tight shot of our Doppler radar here, and if we put it into motion, we see some very heavy rains to our west, starting to push east. This is Manhattan right here. This is Staten Island, and of course over here is Brooklyn and Queens. And this area of rain here, you can see oranges and yellow. This is torrential downpours. This is all heading our way, and it's going to overspread the area, the entire city by 6 o'clock. We'll probably stick around for about 2 hours. We could see 2 inches of rain out of this system right here. So far today, we've seen about 2 or 3 inches. And a flood warning does remain in effect for the city, and this is why, because we have one more shot of heavy rain, and there is some wind. These are the current wind gusts around the city.
O-B-E. Next, please.
the big rival Floyd. Gary Anthony Ramsey, once again, coming by and has more for us from there. Gary.
Well, in the battle with Mother Nature here at the Seagate residence, who are veterans, this is the front line. The waves that break out in the Atlantic Ocean. Everybody here, the 2,000 families that live out here, will never be able to Marine service that caused millions of dollars in damage, and some of which are still recovering from serious injuries. Brought our fans back out here since that total 92 days construction on concrete reinforcements and they're trying to keep the top of the they redefine the link, but the real test will be 1 o'clock in the morning when the second side comes in and goes backwards. The real test is to what time is down, what it will do. For now, we're in Seagate. I'm Gary Anthony Ramsey. Let's go back to the news.
All right, so John, Dad, our meteorologist, is standing by. He's in the Weather Center, and I believe he's got another weather update for us. John.
That's right. We're not saying heavy rain that came over the nation. We'll go back after
Are closed. The best bet we hear from the Port Authority is to stay home and call your air carrier and see if your specific flight is taking off, because chances are very likely that it is not. And let's just update you on Metro North and LIRR. They do have extra trains running and are urging commuters to grab those as quickly as they can to head home, because as the winds pick up, there could be problems there. Same deal with Staten Island Ferry. That is running about 4 boats per hour between 5 and 7 this evening. And the New York Waterway did begin rush hour service early, trying to help this mass exodus of people leaving the city earlier than expected, or earlier than usual because of the storm. That is the update, Roma, as far as closings go. Of course, it keeps changing all the time, and what we're looking for now is what will and will not be open tomorrow, because as we head into the evening, depending on what happens overnight, much of this could, of course, change. We're going to keep you updated, and we'll send it back to you.
Of course, all right. Annika Pergament, thank you. Now, the mayor has scheduled a 5 o'clock press briefing to tell us and keep the city abreast on plans and preparations for the storm. I believe we have a live picture there of the scene, and everybody is standing around or sitting around waiting for the mayor to appear. I don't know what the holdup is. However, earlier today at an 11:30 briefing, that was delayed for a very short while because we had understood that the mayor was out touring the boroughs and the affected areas, and he was anticipating returning a little bit later and would be delayed. So perhaps that is what's causing the delay this time around. But in the meantime, we have Carrie Lyon standing by. I believe she's just outside our New York One studio, standing by on 10th Avenue and 42nd Street here in Manhattan. Carrie, what can you tell us?
Well, Roma, we had a really nice reprieve for a few hours this afternoon from the rain, but now it's picked up over the past few hours, and at times it's been very heavy. But all afternoon and even over the past few hours or so, the traffic is moving very well over here. In fact, it really seems like rush hour happened around 1 or 2 this afternoon instead of how it should be happening right now. Usually at the corner of 42nd and 10th at around this time, things are really backed up, especially about a block away, the entrance to the Lincoln Tunnel. But all of that has passed. Things are moving very smoothly over here. But the roads are very, very slick, and there are some puddles forming at the side of the road. So I would caution drivers to go a little bit slower just to make sure. But throughout the afternoon, there were also a lot of people walking around. It looks like most people now have hunkered down inside and will try and wait out the worst of this storm from the confines of their own homes. For now, though, things aren't incredibly bad out here, though, of course, as John Davitt has been telling us all day, we are expecting more rain and much heavier winds as the night continues. Roma?
Okay, Carrie, thank you. On Staten Island's Oakwood Beach, a steam wall designed to keep water off the beaches and roads is overmatched by the strong surf. Neighborhoods, streets, backyards, all under several inches of water at this hour. Residents say they expect it to get even worse once high tide rolls around very early this morning.
You can hardly see the pier. You know, that ferry that goes out there, it's all busted up. The water, it's over that, over that.
Is it high tide yet?
No, about another hour, hour and a half, the high tide will be in.
So it's only going to get worse?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Doesn't look good, I'll tell you that. That pier over there, we usually walk out onto the pier, fish off the pier, it's underwater now.
With the soaking conditions that have taken place the last 24 hours, as we start to get the heavy rains later on this evening, and with increased winds, we expect a number of trees to come down.
And Borough President Molinari says with the falling trees come power outages. He says Con Ed, unsolicited, has sent extra crews out to Staten Island in case any power lines are knocked down during the storm. Well, we're having round-robin crews all over the city telling us what the effect the storm has had on us so far, and for the very latest in the Seagate community of Brooklyn, let's return to our own Gary Anthony Ramsey. Gary.
Done.
Gary, you are live. All right. I guess we're having some technical problems there. I'm not sure what we're going to do for now. We are awaiting the mayor briefing the press. It had been scheduled for 5 o'clock, but obviously that has been held up for some reason.
This storm and the tremendous cooperation they've shown over the last 2 weeks during the things that the city has been through. I also want to congratulate the people that are working here at the center, which virtually has operated for 24 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, and they're doing a really excellent job. Everyone in the city cooperated today and really assisted. Private citizens, the MTA, all the city agencies that are represented here. People listened to the request that we made of them. The MTA reports that about 50% of their normal ridership had exited or left the city by 3 p.m. today. And from my own observations, I can see that the city is much less crowded now at 5:30 than it normally is. So people definitely listened, and they really helped in keeping down the possibilities of injury or problems for us in dealing with this. I spoke to Governor Pataki several times today, and I want to thank him for all the help and assistance that has been given to us. We didn't need much in this particular situation because we have the resources, but with regard to the mosquitoes, we needed a tremendous amount of help from the state. And without them, we would not have been able to get through that in as successful a way as we did. And the governor also has promised us any aid or assistance we need should the storm create any real difficulties or real problems over the next couple of hours. I also want to commend the chancellor and the school system for cooperating and closing down the schools and making the decision in favor of the safety of children, which should be the first concern of the school system. It also allows us to use the school buildings as shelters for people who may need it. I went around the city today, Greenwich Village, the South Street Seaport, the area around here. I went with the speaker to Astoria, Queens, to the area that was flooded 2 weeks ago when we had the flash floods. I want to commend the Department of Environmental Protection, and I think the speaker would join me if he was here in commending them, because the situation that existed 2 weeks ago did not exist today, even though there was more rain. And that's a credit to their having cleaned up the sewers and the catch basins. And in Springfield Gardens, where I've been there when the flooding was much worse than today, where there was less rain than we've had. I also want to commend DEP and Borough President Schulman, because they've done good work there. There are still problems, but they're much less than they have been in the past. We were out in Coney Island and looking at the sea, and then in Staten Island, where they're getting ready for the storm to hit them in about a half hour or so, but they should be prepared. The FDR is still closed. The Henry Hudson Parkway is also closed above 96th Street. The only other effects on transportation that exist right now in the city are that the Harlem line, the Metro North Harlem line at Croton, is closed because of high seas. And therefore, people that want to go beyond that are going to have to do it by bus. And the Satoa line in Staten Island, the last 4 stops have been closed because of high water
And again, buses are being provided for people who have to travel those last 4. Otherwise, the subways are running normally, the buses are running normally, maybe a little more delayed than usual, but they're running. And the airports, as far as we know, are open, but with delays and cancellations. And I emphasize and underscore delays and cancellations. So if you have a flight, you better check on it before you go out to the airport. Right now, the predictions are 2 to 4 more inches of rain, winds going up to 30 to 40 miles an hour over the evening into the beginning of the morning, gusts 50 to 60 degrees, and with a flood warning for the rest of the evening into the early morning hours. We expect that the storm will hit within an hour and that it will be through our area within 6 hours, and it is predicted to be up in New England in 12 hours. That means that tomorrow morning should be a normal morning. Schools should be open, transportation should be operating, businesses should be operating, and as far as we can tell, if there's any change in that, obviously, we'll update you on that at 9 or 10 o'clock when we have better information about it. But the morning should be a normal morning. It will be a very bad evening, but a normal morning, which what that means is stay home tonight. Do not go out. The winds are going to be very, very high. The rain is going to intermittently be very strong. And for all of the preparations and the work and everything else that's been done, that creates just inherent dangers.
Floyd may be losing strength, but it's still dumping flooding rains as it races to the northeast. And as Floyd moves away, communities like this one in Maryland are able to survey the damage. Hello, I'm Paul Goodlow, and welcome to this special edition of Weather Center. I'll have the nation's weather and your Friday forecast coming.